Good morning, Opening Pathways viewers. I have a special guest for you today. I have Charlie Sarmiento with me, who is all the way from Switzerland today, and he is a global sports visionary and a CEO. I'm going to have him share a little bit more about what he's working on today in a moment. Charlie, welcome to the show. I've been looking forward to this.
Thank you so much, Tom. I'm very excited to be here with you and for everybody that is gonna hear us and listen to us and watch us or both. Very excited to share all what I have experienced so far in my life.
Good. So let's just start right where we're at and tell us about what you're working on today and let the viewers know a little bit about you so we can frame who Charlie is.
Well, today I'm working on Vertikal X. Vertikal X is a sports tech company where we created a VTX Athlete. It's a solution for endurance athletes to help them to get funded based on a performance data-driven perspective that we call the VTX index. And in that sense, through this index, we help them to connect with donors and sponsors in order for them to get access and keep competing, training, and preparing themselves in their sports career.
Wonderful. Tell a little bit more about who Charlie is. You've got a really interesting past, and I'd like the viewers to have a little more than just what you're doing today.
Yeah, so I'm a crazy, adventurous, disruptive human being with a very deep soul. I really love to connect with people. I would say I live my life very intense, in a good way, or I don't know if there's another way, but intensively, I live my life every day as it is my last one. And I have been in the sports space since I was very young. I was a baseball player for Guatemala youth national team for over 7 years as a shortstop. And then I transitioned to soccer for Guatemala national team U17 as a central forward. And the last 11 years, I have been an endurance athlete myself, an ultra trail runner for 9 years, and the last 2.5 as an extreme triathlete. So Charlie Sarmiento it's a person that have been solving his own wounds through, and I would say surviving. And now I'm in the phase that I'm starting to live in a more plenitude perspective. So I have been responsible of healing all these wounds in my life through my journey. And I would say one of the biggest one was when my dad passed away when I was 14 years old. I think it has been one of the most beautiful gifts life has given me, because that really pushed me to see life differently and to really appreciate every day, right? And that's when I said I live intensively, because seeing the death so close in someone that is your dad in this case, it's a very someone that not give you birth, the mother, but it's at the end with him this shouldn't be happening. It's so relevant, and I think that is why living his death, it was a birth for me in a new way to see the life.
Beautiful.
So that's when I learned that to live life intensively, that perfection doesn't exist, that all the perfect is found in the imperfection, and that we just need to trust the divine timing, because sometimes we do not have any clue why things happen, but everything that happened to us is for something greater, and we just paralyze or get anxious or depressed, or which I did, right? And so that is Charlie, the warrior who has been there, and and a very disruptive person, which now I feel very grateful for being that way. But before, I think I was wearing so many masks because I have this I would say structure of the society, religion, dogmas, uh, that now that I have been growing and evolving as a human being, I realized that was only limiting myself and not being authentic at all, right?
Yeah. You know, I love this. I think I told you about him. I have a buddy who I met doing this work, and he's getting ready to do the death race, which this is only one of many things that he's done for extreme sports like you've been doing over in your life. And, I ask him sometimes, what is this about? And what I realize and I've learned is there's these phases, they're kind of by decade, but not perfectly in our life. We're in the 30s. I think we wrestle a lot of who we are, who we're going to become. And there's this sort of like the almost the chrysalis before we become our butterfly. And then about the 40s, it gets a little clearer. And then you get to where I am at now, and you see so much of that journey and what it meant. And I love all of it. I love all of it. And I love hearing this for you. I'm curious, what belief about yourself have you outgrown recently? What shifted?
Like, I would say the belief about me, you said, like what
Yeah.
I think about
Yeah,
me
what
myself.
changed? What belief about yourself changed?
I think that the most important for me is that I have to be honest and true with who I am. And I think that belief, I think because before I was a people pleaser, and so that was kind of block, right? I'm trying always to accommodate, like like yeah, like accommodating to everyone and try
Yeah.
to please everyone, not me, right? Which that belief is that being authentic and true with who I am, without any masks, doesn't mean being a narcissist or egoistic, right? Because people, I have seen that from a victimization perspective and manipulation perspective, uh, tend to use that words as a mechanism of self-reflection that they cannot do it, right? And that's what I have been experiencing. So that belief of, yes, I can be authentic, yes, I am authentic, and yes, I am true with myself, doesn't mean being an asshole with everyone, because that's not the point. It's just for those that will resonate with who you authentically are, you are gonna be a magnet, and you're gonna not have the need to have anyone, the love, the friendship, the business partner, whatever situation, you're just gonna attract them, right? And for those who don't, live at the or resonate at the same frequency I'm just gonna repel, right? Which is okay, right? It's I don't know if repel is the right word, but I would say potentially it has been. Um and to accept that, right? Like to accept the fact that it's also good to repel those that doesn't resonate, that I don't have to please them to keep them close because I think that they will give me some kind of value. And I think that relief of knowing the value that I have inside of myself,
Yes.
and the light that I have, and the, the mission I have in this, on earth. I think that is what really matters, right? And then, and that has been the belief that I have been learning over the past 10 years.
Yeah, it's interesting. It brings a quote to me of, "You are the one you've been looking for." When we finally realize that what we've been seeking, we've had with us all along. Where recently has life asked you to slow down? And when it did, what did you hear?
Yeah, I think life has been asking me to slow down several times. Sometimes I didn't listen because I have this ego before, and I didn't want to listen. But I would say the last 10 years I have been more aware about that. And one of the biggest breakthroughs, I would say, is when my relationship wasn't working. That was one of the biggest calls, because you have to slow down, and that means, is this what I really want for eternity or not? It is only because I have a contract, or because I do really want it? Is this because third parties, meaning children, that I'm there, or is something else, right? So that is slowing down. It gave me a lot of perspective of what do I really want, right? What do I really want? And first, as you said, we tend to search outside, but I think that's wrong. That's the wrong direction, right? It's inside, and and the answers are always inside. We are not just aware, and I would say humble, or no ego to go deep inside, right? Because we think we are perfect and we are not,
Yes, yes,
and that is what makes us beautiful. I always said, in imperfection is the beautiful, right? Because when you resonate with another soul, and it could be romantic, it could be business, it could be friends, it could be whatever. When you resonate at that frequency, nobody's perfect, right? But
yes,
but 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 what really changed the equation is that those that resonate are because are going within, right? And they know and are aware of how they need to evolve, right? And that is where you find this boom, strong connection.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, but if you are always just going outside, it's just the ego telling you, no, it's not you, it's the other people. You are always right, and that is what I think it's an obstacle. So answering is, I think that first slowdown was in that moment. I would say 10, 11 years ago, 11 years ago. And then the other one that I decided to slow down, was when I quit my corporate career, which is kind of a slowdown, because we believe that, or I believe that, when you become entrepreneur, you are the owner of time, which you are, but then you have more responsibility of where are you going to invest your time, right? Because you have to see where your value is, where you're going to put the value and the energy. And so that gave me another slowdown moment, to really do the things that resonates within me, right? Like, it's not about the money, right? Money is energy. Money is the mean. Money gives us freedom to do a lot of things. But to build that, it requires a mission, a vision, a passion for what we are doing. So the moments that get tough, because it's gonna be tough, you keep going, keep going, keep going. You change, you adapt, but you keep going, right? You don't I would say quit, because it's always good to quit as well. It's nothing bad, because if it doesn't resonate, it doesn't resonate. And it's okay
Yes.
to not. It's fine, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I would say those two big milestones. I think those are the biggest one.
Yeah.
Uh,
I love what you're saying about perfection because to me, just walk out in nature amongst the trees, walk in a beautiful garden, you will find imperfection everywhere, but it's still beautiful. It's still beautiful nature. And I think that sometimes we forget to celebrate our imperfections, and that our imperfections, where we see them negatively, are often nothing more than perception and are often beautiful to someone else, that we just perceive them differently. It's part of growing as we move through life, I think. So tell me this, what personal values have guided you from the start, and which ones deepened more recently?
I will say one of the one that is more deep now. I will say authenticity, Tom. That one, I just have it here, uh, and I think that authenticity for me it's a value that today is a non-negotiable. Um, because I have a one of the gifts that uh, God gave me is the intuition. Everybody has intuition, but I think for some reason I have it a little bit more developed than normal, and I can really sense when I'm in a room a lot of things. Sometimes it overwhelms me, depends on the energy. Sometimes I feel a lot of compassion and love. Sometimes I feel a lot of energy and fire, and in a good way. And but those that drain me, literally, that's what this value is important, is not being authentic, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And I think because I think I know it because I was that way, right? Um,
yeah,
so that is probably, I know it better, and I don't want to go back at all.
yeah, yeah. I encourage you to read a book called The Highly Sensitive Person by Elaine Aron.
Okay.
For those of us that have this extra sensitivity, it's really an interesting read of how important, special, and how we can use it even more in what some others think sometimes is look at it a little differently. So tell me this, how has your relationship with risk changed?
Yeah, it's a good one, Tom. I love your questions. It's a good one, and I'm laughing because in a good way, because I do remember. Uh, it just came out of my mind right now, top of mind. One of my former boss in the corporate ladder, he made this statement to me. It was This was back in, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. Actually, 10 years. No, actually more. No, this was the first one because they told me two times. The first one was 2013. so 13 years ago in Colombia. He was a Colombian and an amazing human being. And he said, Charlie, I think, and at this point, I haven't done that breakthrough, right? He said, Charlie, you are so afraid to make mistakes. You're so afraid to make mistakes. And that is when perfection comes into the equation as well. And I never forgot that conversation, Tom. And I just imagine that I keep remembering very clear. I remember the place, the moment. And I said yes, right? In that moment, like the ego, boom, jump out, right? And now I can tell you that has changed abruptly because I am a risk taker, right? By nature. Uh, and now I see the risk. Obviously, I have the way that I process things. I can't connect logically a lot of points at the same time, and because of this sensitivity as well and the intuition, I have failed, obviously, but good lessons behind. But what I can tell is that those risks now I see it as opportunities, right? And one of them, there are two big examples, Tom. The first one was when I decided to become an ultra trail runner and do my first race. This was back in 2015. Tom, I was not running. I was not a runner, not even 10K. And I decided to do from 0 to 85 kilometers or 50 miles from 0 in the mountains. And I do remember this because it's a risk taking, and everybody started telling me, "Hey, you are crazy, motherfucker. You have 4 children. You are irresponsible. You're gonna die. What do you think you are? You are not Superman." All those kind of comments that you already know, right? But Tom, that was the first time in my life that I said, fuck it, really, like that, like saying, I don't care. Like, I don't care. I'm gonna make it because I feel it inside. And I know that I can do it. So I did it, and imagine 10 years later, all what I have done, it was because I have the courage to take the risk.
Yes.
And the second one, Tom, is when I became an entrepreneur full time, right? Same thing, right? Like, you have a nice paycheck. You are working for big corporations, very solid, very stable. You are responsible. You don't have the money. And this was in 2020, actually before COVID. Imagine that, crazy. Before COVID, I
BC.
quit. Yeah, my God. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna do it because I feel it. That's my calling. I know that's my calling. And I feel it. It was so strong. Everybody told me everything. Now even harder because now it was about money, right? About reputation, about being stable, about a lot of things, right? And I just did it. And look, today I have been grateful that because of that, I did a high performance training facility that took me, because of COVID, took me to create this concept of the NASDAQ for athletes. I won a scholarship in Silicon Valley. That's where I incubate Vertikal X. Sorry. And And then I went to Austin, became a portfolio company. I got the visa for extraordinary abilities in athletics. Year after, I got the green card for extraordinary abilities in athletics because of that risk taking. And now I'm keep building the company, and now I am in Switzerland, in the same path, opening Vertikal X in Switzerland and Spain, and it has been all investment, Tom. It's a pre-revenue company. People believe that I am millionaire, but I am, but because I am, in terms of not the amount that I have in my bank account, but because I'm confident uh, that we are gonna impact million athletes globally. That's what I'm millionaire.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Um, so yeah, so those are the two most important things that I
Okay,
can say.
tell me
Risk take.
this, Charlie. Tell me this. So, this is a good one for someone like you. People look at fear in many ways. Some people see fear as a stop sign. Some people see fear. Now, there's a fear if a bear's chasing you. You probably have a little fear that's real. But fear in life shows up differently for different people. I've learned as I've sort of evolved in this life that for me, fear becomes an opportunity for growth of some sort. Some people find that fear brings information. Some people are afraid of fear. What's your relationship with fear?
I love it because for me, fear, Tom, I always said that in the fear, what you fear is where your power is. And every time that I have feared something, because now that change, I get nervous because that's good, getting nervous. I like getting nervous, right? But fearing, like, the way that I see it is, if there is something that I got fear, I have to do it. I have to do it. And that is the relationship for me to fear.
Yeah.
It's a call. It's a calling. It's saying, "Hey, Charlie, are you fear? Yes. Okay, do it."
I love this.
So that is my relationship with fear,
Yeah,
Tom.
very good. Tell me this. What are you most proud of? Not professionally, not publicly, but personally.
For me, the thing that I'm more proud, Tom, is to leave the legacy that I'm leaving to my 4 children about being themselves, about finding inner peace in their hearts and happiness as a consequence because of what they want to do, not what other people tell them to do. And that example is what I'm living. And I just hope, because they are young, that someday they will remember this crazy motherfucker the way that I did it. That's
Yeah.
what I feel proud of, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. The last time we spoke, something told me a lot about you as a person and as a father, because your son came over and kissed you on the cheek. I guess he was probably going somewhere, and that told me a lot about you, because he's old enough now that that kind of starts to, we start to pull away a little bit from the childhood snuggling that we do with our parents. And It told me a lot about you, Charlie, and made me want to even dig deeper with you. So tell me this, please. Um, what boundary have you had to put in place recently that is really key to your sustainability?
I think the boundary, Tom, is manipulation. I think that game, consciously or subconsciously, because I think people sometimes they are not awake and they just do it subconsciously and they don't realize it. But I will say that boundary, and it's not their fault. It's my responsibility, right? I'm responsible of allowing that. But I will say setting that boundary on being like I'm not playing the games. I will say that
Yeah,
uh,
I like
the,
it.
the the manipulation for me, because it puts you, if you are in I would say comfortable position for any other reasons that you don't want to disrupt, but you know that you are not in the right place, and you allow that manipulation, then you are just playing a game, right? And that's not sustainable over the long term at all. And it's against your peace of mind. And I will say that, Tom. I will say that.
So, what does renewal look like for Charlie beyond just rest and taking some time off? What does Charlie do to renew himself?
Well, for me, renewal, Tom, is going to the nature by myself. I will say to isolate from humans. Eh, and that's kind of the renewal, and be very selective, Tom, of which people I bring into my life. Uh, and that's what renewal looks for me. For example, now you hear me, I have a little bit of a congestion. But for example, for me, I always say that when I have those kind of things, I am not sick. I'm healing. I'm healing because I'm renewing myself. I know that I have to go to this phase to renew. And actually, this is a great moment because we are in February, and you and I have talked about that before behind the scenes. Let's put it that way. But February is my birthday. My birthday is gonna be in February 17. I have been feeling this congestion. I know that I'm healing a lot of things now, and entering into my birthday, I'm gonna be 44, which equals number 8, which is abundance and infinity. But also eclipse, it's on the February 17, and also the Chinese calendar, the horse year, is February 17. So for me, and I can feel the energy being right now these last days healing by myself, Tom. It has been one of the most beautiful gifts I ever had. That doesn't mean that uh, it has not been difficult, challenging, but I feel I receive it that way.
Yeah.
Full moon on February 1st, all this energy shifting, me in being a new place. So going back to your question about renewal, I think today is the right moment to do the question and to answer it.
Yes. We could say the snake is still shedding. before we move into that wild horse, fire horse year. Yes, the snake is still shedding right now. Its
Correct.
last little bit of work that it's doing. Yes, yes, yes. I love this. And folks, if you haven't checked out what's going on with this fire horse year we're getting ready to experience, whatever you believe, it's really great to look at it and see how you can apply it to what's going on in your life. Being a horse, I'm really excited about it. Um, Charlie, I'm interested to know if your younger, much younger self were to be watching this podcast right now, what would you tell him?
I will tell him, hey, dude, you have done amazing job. Uh, just be yourself and do not sell your essence at any cost, at any price. And follow your heart, follow your intuition, and turn off the noise of external people, even if they are related, family, etc. Just turn off that noise and make your own decisions based on the information you have and the intuition. And do not get distracted by mundane stuff. And always see the light in you, because you are going to be able to see the light in others. And that's what I will say.
I love this. That's wonderful. So, Charlie Sarmiento, it's been wonderful having you on Opening Pathways today. A extreme athlete who turned into the builder of ventures, the CEO today of Vertikal X, doing great work with athletes and donors and bringing them forward. Tell us where we can find you, please.
Well, thank you, Tom. You can find me on Instagram as Ultra Sarmiento, at Ultra Sarmiento. You can find me on LinkedIn as well as Jose Carlos Charlie Sarmiento. And those are the two main channels you can find me directly.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you for being on Opening Pathways today.
No, Tom, I want to appreciate your time, your knowledge, and your wisdom. And I can really see the light in you, and I'm just very grateful for me for being selected in your podcast, and for me to sharing this with a beautiful soul as yours. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's been great. I looked forward to it, and I really, really enjoyed hearing some things that you shared today with others. You changed some lives today. And to my viewers, this is Tom Lenoble. I'll see you next time.